chemistry student who doesn't know much about the subject, I found this documentary to be really interesting. I liked how it opened, and a lot of the footage really helps put into context the real world impact of chemistry and molecules and mirror atoms and things. I don't remember much of the terminology, but it was definitely a really engaging and interesting documentary. And I think the storytelling did a great job of really giving us like a visual grasp about the subject area and the consequences and what that means. And some of the visuals were really great, especially for the hypothetical what if scenarios. And overall, I thought this was a really interesting and great documentary.
This is regarding the documentary Molecular Chirality. I thought this was really interesting. I really liked the opening music and the opening scene, and kind of grabs your attention and gets you intrigued. It's very interesting and educational documentary on chirality. I didn't really know anything about this and never really heard anything about this, and how long it's been around, and the mirror image of itself is very interesting, and how if you drop just one of those molecules into the ocean, what can happen. That's pretty amazing. And that we can use this to find out if there's other life on other planets. I just thought it was very educational and well done and nicely paced and everything. So good job to everybody who made this, and I wish you the best of luck with it. Hope it gets out to a wider audience and gets seen by a lot of people. It's interesting.
This film is called Molecular Chirality. This was a fascinating short. It looks closely at this scientific concept. The film does an excellent job explaining this dichotomy and reviewing the past when in medicine it caused birth defects. I love the CGI effects in this film that charts organic chemical compounds. Very interesting interviews of scientists who have been recognized for the study of mirror image molecules. I love the narrator's voice, so competent and pleasant. Perfect soundtrack for this piece. Great job.
Molecular chirality was very insightful, learning about mirror molecules and how something that can be very beneficial can also have a very harmful side to it, and vice versa. It's very fascinating learning more about the different sides of the same thing that you've known from only one side of it. I hope that makes sense. But I can see both sides. I can see how this can be beneficial, but I can also see how it can be extremely harmful. And just learning about it was very interesting.
Molecular chirality is very interesting. Documentary. The subject's interesting. These different mirror image things and the hypotheticals, and it's very, presented very, it's easy to understand for those of us who aren't scientists. I think presenting it as easy to understand is the most effective you can be for these.
So this is very interesting. It was definitely molecular chirality was not something that I knew anything about before. It makes sense, though, the way that now that they've explained it to me, I have a basic understanding. It's interesting that this went back to Louis Pasteur. It's amazing how many scientific discoveries were made, in the age of scientists from, the 18th century on. And how the work has advanced as our technology has advanced, using lasers now and whatnot to measure it. So yeah, and also very cool how we kind of look to the future at the end and we see how it can be happening on Mars. We could be doing chirality with things we find on Mars. Why not? So interesting, very interesting piece here. I'm enlightened. It was well done. The animations were good. The interviews were good. Nicely edited, nicely paced, nice use of the score. So good job with this. I hope this gets out there and does well for you.
All right, I just finished watching Molecular Chirality. I hope I said that correctly. This was a really interesting piece, I thought. It was built around sort of the science and the medical science behind a lot of compounds that go into medicine, and it really showed, I thought, in an interesting way, the history of science and medicine, how there hasn't always been a strong connection between how certain prescriptions were prescribed, how certain medications were prescribed, and the uses of them. I thought methamphetamines was really used in an interesting way, showing how common it was for there to be in one period of time a certain medication that was acceptable. I think they were giving it to pregnant women, or having it available over the counter, and how time passed by and sort of the chemistry behind these medications really started to highlight the downsides and the dangerous causes in the recreational form, or in a form in which it's abused. I thought the science was really presented in a way that was accessible to a layman such as myself, and I thought that the construction of the images combined with the narration really made it both educational and easy to take in, which really sort of contributed to why it was an effective piece, in my opinion. So I thought it was well done and well constructed as a whole, in terms of matching the music and the images with the narration, and I ended up liking it and thinking it was something that could really inform a lot of people in a very short amount of time.